Good evening, I'm RJ Sachdev. It's Friday, December 2nd, and this is the Lightweight Sports Update. We'll start in the NFL. In last night's Thursday night game, America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, took care of the Minnesota Vikings 17-15 in a defensive battle that featured touchdowns from both Ezekiel Elliott and Des Bryant. It was Dallas's 11th straight victory, tying a franchise record. Now, the game itself was fairly uneventful until the fourth quarter. However, there were two real takeaways from this game. One, the Dallas Cowboys are definitely good and not just lucky. Sorry, Stephen A. Smith. And two, this game was the start of the My Cause, My Cleats campaign, which allows players to wear cleats that promote charitable efforts without getting fined. Why this isn't a thing every week is beyond me, but hey, it's a step in the right direction. Some matchups coming up this weekend include Kansas City playing in Atlanta, Detroit squaring off against New Orleans, Houston traveling to Green Bay, Eli versus Big Ben as the Giants visit the Steelers, and Carolina playing in Seattle, among others. In MLB news, late Wednesday night, Major League Baseball and its players' union agreed on a 5-year collective bargaining deal. This means no lockout for baseball, and business can continue as usual. There were no huge headlines to come out of this deal except for this. Reportedly, the All-Star Game will no longer decide home field advantage for the World Series. I don't know why it took until after the 2016 season for this to happen, but hey, the Cubs won the World Series, so I don't think anyone outside of Cleveland is complaining. Instead, the team with the best record will have the advantage. That wasn't so hard now, was it? I know what you're thinking. The NBA's two best teams lost last night, the Cavs to the Clippers and the Warriors to the Rockets in double OT, so I know you thought we were going to come in here and freak out about it. But guess what? We're not, because come playoff time, those two teams are still going to be on top. So instead, let's talk some college hoops. It's early, we're still in non-conference play, but there have been some fantastic games in the past few weeks. 13th ranked Indiana beat 3rd ranked North Carolina on Wednesday. Last night, there were 4 top 25 teams in action, all against unranked opponents. 3 of these teams survived: South Carolina, Florida, and Gonzaga. Iowa State, though, not so lucky. They fell 55-54 to Cincinnati in overtime at home. Tough break for the Cyclones. Now, you all know I'm a DePaul guy. My Blue Demons are off to a 4-1 start behind the crazy performances from sophomore star Eli Kane. Well, this Saturday they'll make the trip to Evanston to face off against the Wildcats of Northwestern. Now, I would call up Michael Wilbon if I could, but this is a low-budget show, so I got the next best guy. For more on Wildcats men's basketball, here's high school reporter and Wildcats expert Alex Gaul. Alex, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, RJ. Great to be here. Great to cover this great game coming up here tomorrow.
Now, your Wildcats, they're 5-2 on the season. They're coming off a good win against Wake Forest, a good Wake Forest team. What has been the key to their success so far this season?
Well, yeah, as you said, and it's got to be Bryant McIntosh, the junior guard. He's had a fantastic campaign for Northwestern this season. He's really took steps forward. He can hurt you in a variety of ways. He's been in a shooting slump as of late, but in the second half of that game versus Wake Forest, he went 10 of 10 shooting, 2 from 2 from behind the arc, and got 20 points that second half to lead Northwestern to a 65-58 victory. And that's just been one of the keys for Northwestern all season.
Well, and McIntosh, you said, is a junior, right? So had time to develop. Is he really the source of that leadership for that team, or is there anybody else who can kind of contribute in terms of the morale and leadership on that team?
Well, I think definitely he's taken a step up this year because they had 2 really good seniors last year in Alex Ola and Trey Demps, who both graduated last year. I think they were mentoring him to some extent for the last 2 years, but this year he's really taken that step forward to being one of the leaders on that team.
Well, it's good to see young guys kind of work their way through the system from freshman, sophomore, now he's a junior, to kind of take a bigger role in that team. Now, I know the Wildcats, they are 5-2, but they have some key injuries that might affect this game on Saturday. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, well, definitely in that game versus Wake Forest on Monday, a sophomore center, Derek Pardon, got injured in that game. He will be out for the rest of non-conference play. He was averaging 6.9 points per game and 7 rebounds. Definitely a big loss for Northwestern coming up. Of course, they've been dealing with injuries for the last 2 seasons. Vic Law, their leading scorer this year, with 16.1 points per game this season, is back. He's had a great campaign this year, but it did hurt him that they didn't have him last year. And of course, freshman forward Rapolis Ivanauskas is out for the entire season with a shoulder injury.
So some tough breaks there for the Wildcats. Now, the game Saturday, 6 p.m. in Evanston, the Blue Demons and the Wildcats. What do the Blue Demons need to do if they want to come into Evanston and get a quality win against a good Big Ten team.
Well, RJ, you said it. These are not your typical Northwestern Wildcats. This is a team that can hurt you in a variety of different ways. We talked about McIntosh, his ability to break down the defense by driving, scoring from the outside. They've got a variety of different weapons. Scotty Lindsey is a guy who will make a big impact tomorrow night, as well as Vic Law and, of course, Bryant McIntosh. They'll be without Derek Pardon, of course, but the DePaul Blue Demons, if they want to win this game, they're going to have to get in the paint, have to get gritty with Northwestern. They're going to have to beat that defense, and they go back and forth from a 2-3 zone to man-to-man defense. So trying to change up that look, and it's something Chris Collins likes to do, and I'm sure DePaul will be preparing for that.
And DePaul coming off a win against Drake, a dramatic win against Drake, where they kind of had to figure out that zone. So we'll look forward to what this game will bring on Saturday. Last question for you, Gaul. Is this the year that the Wildcats finally break into the March Madness tournament?
Well, I would I would actually like to see him make it next year. They have the best chance to make it next year. They're going to have a great recruiting class coming up. They're going to get Rapolas Ivanauskas back. You're going to have a senior Brian McIntosh who's even more mature than he is right now. I think they have a chance to turn some heads this season. I think they're going to make the NIT. I think they're going to make some noise in the Big Ten tournament. They almost beat Michigan last year in the Big Ten tournament. Probably would have put them in the NIT last year if they had beat them in overtime, but they didn't. I think they get into the NIT this year, and I think next year is the year for the Northwestern Wildcats.
All right, so next year. Gaul, thank you so much for being here, and I guess for me, go Blue Demons. For you, go Wildcats. Honorable mentions for today. My Blackhawks won in overtime last night. The Chargers will likely move to Los Angeles. Tiger Woods is back on the course. LeBron lost a bet and will be wearing a Cubs jersey to the United Center tonight. And Drake, I think, is supposed to come out with a new album tomorrow. Anybody else hear that?
Just a rumor.
Just a rumor. All right. Well, remember this guy? That's Isaiah Austin. 3 years ago, as a basketball player at Baylor University and a projected first-round draft pick, he was told he could no longer play basketball due to the fact that he had Marfan syndrome. Now, this is 3 years later. On Wednesday, Austin announced that he had been cleared to play basketball and intends to make every effort to make it to the NBA. Doesn't that just make your heart sing? That is all we have time for today. If you made it this far, wow, thank you for watching. I really do appreciate you. And I will see you all next Monday.